Okay, ready to kick this off. Now I'm having troubles with my battery charger. I'm not as used to it as I was, and we may end up with issues. I have 3 batteries now, so if I can get them charged, I can get long periods, but it keeps dying, like failing to provide power to me. All right, so to start things off, well, we're going to look at, I'm just going to try to pick my cards for everybody, but we look at the player-specific stuff, and like Great Britain, they have an extra trader or financier. That's a single card. That's great. But they can't use the Explorer or Viceroy on the first turn. Now, that makes sense historically. They weren't involved in exploration at that point. They can't use the Conqueror until turn 4, and then they get the bonus that's listed, and they have certain historical places. So trying to decide what my actions will be and what I'm going to be doing, that's a hard part of this. Of course, I also have to kind of familiarize myself with the different actions, what I want to do, how I want to build my little economic engine, which is clearly a part of this whole game. It does have a Euro aspect to it, there's no question. And as well, it damn well better have an economic engine. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense, given the topic that it covers. So that's cool. Some Euros have an economic engine that really shouldn't. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to start putting some of that thought in for each country, what they want to do in a turn, and try to figure that out. At those first turn limitations, I feel pretty unhappy with what my options are. I come up with 2 cards I might want to play. Ambassador, get a diplomacy. That doesn't sound like a bad idea. There was a third one. Where is he? Scientist. Now remember, I get 5 plays. The scientist, I almost certainly want to do this. Advance of progress. I'm not sure which, but yeah. And possibly the sovereign to wage war, although that's not very useful unless, I'm in a later stage. So looking at my pile, I think I'm going to probably start off playing this scientist card as my first choice, and then figure out from there what I want to do. There are no cards that I'm completely forbidden from playing. There's just characters on those cards that I'm not allowed to play. No, because this allows me to finance here and whatever. My extra card is fine. And I'll start doing the same with each of the other countries. To play these out, I forgot something. It is possible to get into these explored areas early in the game. Now, both Portugal and Spain are going to want to explore as their first card, so I'm not really affected by that. But the Brits might want to reconsider their scientist action. Viceroy allows you to do that. Governor, not so useful. I think the Viceroy is the one that's potentially useful to him, and I believe he has that, right? Nope, he can't use the Viceroy on the first turn either, so he's not going to be able to expand into the Levant or whatever. Strangely for me, the Dutch are not allowed to open up trading posts down here. Now, did they have them? I don't know. They certainly had merchants operating down there, but did they qualify as whatever these trading posts are, which seem to be more substantial? Nah, I don't think so. They have a really limited set of cards. The merchant ships goods to market. Well, that's not going to happen. The trader, move the goods from the market to your treasury. Well, that's not going to help. The scientist, obviously, and then they have an extra merchant. So at the beginning, I have 1 card that I can play, and other cards will go in the discard pile. One problem with playing this with the nations expansion, other than, hey, why can't I do this? Well, the Portuguese are playing their black card. Everybody should know exactly what that is. It's their extra explorer. Is it a big shock that they're going to do an explorer first? No, not terribly, although they might have wanted to go for seafaring first. Another factor is, and I'm kind of glad I set it up the way I did, but Portugal is seated, and this is just, because this is how people sat, essentially. It's got nothing to do with game order or anything like that. Ahead of Spain, which means they're going to get the shot to discover America first. I have played games of EU. Normally Spain gets the jump on exploration in EU and in Conquistador, so they just get the New World advantage. That doesn't seem to be the case here. Now, whether or not they should be the first player is a question, because Dutch Republic has a monopoly, has the advantage in monopolies at the beginning of the game. Again, they might want to set up a player seating order for this, or randomize the seating order. The first player is always the same, but I'm always iffy about games where who you're sitting next to, not necessarily the nation or whatever, because that might be variable, but actually the qualities of the player that you're sitting, your seating order in terms of quality of player affects your chances of being able to do things. And now, okay, I've got somebody who loves to explore sitting on my left. Maybe I need to do other things, It's kind of like 18XX has such importance on the seating order, and some other games do as well. I would rather see some other form of determining the ordering of play. The Monopolies is great. It figures out the first player. The other players' orders ought to also be kind of altered by the game state, rather than, I am always on the left of the Dutch, And that may give me a disadvantage on fighting them or whatever. It may cause some serious issues in the game. Problem that applies more to the fact that, I'm playing this for the first time, and I don't really know what all the things do very well, and it's hard to put them together. It would be useful if things like logistics told you what they covered and what was affected by them. By not having that little key on those locations, I end up in a position. Now let's see if they do. 3S today. No, I don't think so. That's just map. Without having that information there, I'm not sure which things have to do with what. So economy, I know that has to do with the loan size, with the booming cities, and with these commodities, but I'm not positive what else. Seafaring, my exploration, I know it does that. I don't know if it does anything else though. Navy, I think that's how many boats I can build each turn. And logistics is how good my viceroy can be. And the viceroy looks like a really important card, which a lot of the countries are refused at this point, using the special nations rules. This wouldn't be the case if I was playing the open game, but I actually feel like Conquistador is kind of shitty because everybody can go out and do stuff right from the beginning of the game. Even the French have an explorer early on in the first turn of the game. But yeah, I'm finding it difficult to figure out, hey, I've picked some scientists, what do they want to do? But anyway, everybody reveals their card. And we're on that scientist question right now. Which scientist do I choose? Both France and England have chosen that. So England gets a choice of scientist. Well, what's most important to me? That's hard to tell. Navy seems important. I would like to upgrade that. Does that affect my naval role? I don't remember. I think it's just number of ships. There's nothing really for me to gain by going to war at this point. There will be once somebody has some stuffs. But is that where I really want to throw my points? I don't really care about my economy right now. I have plenty of money. I'm going to actually pay $1. I'm going to pay one in order to get my seafaring up, because that seems better. Now this is discarded, and I'll do that by putting it under the deck face up. That's what I've done with the cards that, for example, the Dutch just cannot play. And I'm running out of battery here, and this battery has not charged up very much. Okay, kind of fucked. All right, so that's their first card. Now, do I have a way to mark the number of cards that I played? Kinda. I got, the size of the discard pile. Let's go to the Portuguese. They're going to do an exploration. Well, we have a few choices, but since here's another problem. Treaty of Tordesillas is always fixed where it is, so which kind of makes some sense, except for the Brazil case. But what the problem with it is that if Portugal goes before Spain, they can discover America, and China's not going to fall, to the Spaniards. So I cannot explore or place counters in the Americas outside of Brazil. Well, I'm going to go try to find Brazil then. And how do I explore? I don't remember. I probably roll a whole bunch of dice. Okay, this is special exploration rules. That's not the rules for exploration. Those are under the Explorer. Choose an unexplored territory. Boom, 10 dice. 2, 4, 6. That's all of them. Now, I don't like rolling this many dice at once. I got 4 successes. 4 is what I would normally need, but it's +2 because nothing's been found, and my seafaring is not up. So I've just failed. Hey, no harm was done. The Spaniards still get to try to explore for America. And they will be doing that. These cracks are annoying. Where do we want to go? Well, we're limited to only colonies where they have a missionary. Spain can only explore places and place counters in its historical goals. Well, I have a shot at the easiest place on there, which is the West Indies. Makes sense. We'll go for that. Maybe we should have gone for a scientist first for higher seafaring, but now I've got 10 dice going for a 5, essentially. And I get 1, 2, 3, 4. I have also failed at my exploration. And that means Portugal is going to get the next crack at it. Again. Although they won't have an extra explorer, do they? Maybe they do. Yes, they have an extra explorer. So Portugal actually is the strongest of the exploring powers. That brings us over here. I've got a scientist. What the fuck do I want to do? Well, let's take a look. I can only use scientist, merchant, and trader on my first 2 turns. What does logistics do? Logistics is viceroy. I'm going to spend $1 and upgrade $2 and upgrade my navy. Did I spend the right amount? Yes, I spent the right amount for the English. Seafaring's cheaper, but Okay, and that gets rid of a card for me. And then the French also wanted to do a scientist. I don't know what I want to do here. I'm not allowed to use the Explorer, Viceroy, or Conqueror. I too will spend 2 points on improving my navy, I guess. Hard call. Now we move on to the second card for this set of, and I really wish there was a marker for the time, for this set of endeavors, and there are 5 cards each. Oh! Wow, they have to be in sequence already. Okay, so I gotta select all the cards at once. I kind of cheated and jumped in with just one. I'll continue. I'll set up the other 4 cards at this point. Oops. And I performed that with an eye on what they expected to be the results. Like, Portugal and Spain expected to discover North America. Well, Americas. Just because they didn't, well, that's going to mean they have some wasted actions in there, which is no big deal. am used to making decisions like that. Ooh, sounds like some snow falling. Yeah, we got snow. It's mostly gone. You can see it out here. It was traumatic. I don't know. I got a tree down over there. That's actually, you actually can't see it. That's just a branch, but either that or it's a huge fucking branch, but I think it's a whole tree. Came down, took out my power from took out my power line, but not my power. That line's still down. We were without power for all of last work week, and I pretty much was able to get 6 hours of work done in a hotel room for one day. To me, it's a rejuvenation and recuperation to be able to work, as opposed to trembling under my blankets, hoping that no trees land on my corner of my house anymore. So let's go look at the next card play. I'm doing these all right to left, just to be. And I have a choice. Well, explore ambassador. We know we can't explore. Explore ambassador. This is the Spanish bonus missionary. Did you really want to do this? Well, no. But I could actually build a mission over here, I think, so it's not terrible. His bonus, which I'm sure is a merchant, and an ambassador there. So we're going to see a lot of diplomacy type crap here. Explore ambassador. Well, we can't explore, so we'll do some ambassador stuff. Oh, look, we're at the top. Better go to war. Here we go. I've got a second explorer. I'm going to take another crack at Portugal, or at Brazil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6. My seafaring is not up. Why would it be a 5? 5 was for the Caribbean. But I'm not allowed to go there, so I have had another failure. Maybe I should be doing sciences, because I'm going to lose my advantage on other people. Scientist or missionary? Well, I have the scientist choice, but I don't, because this is this. So I can place a missionary on an explored territory. Well, I don't know if this really helps me, but I can't colonize things until I get a missionary in place. So we'll make sure we put one there. That could help a lot of people, though. That's one of the problems. I don't have to have anything there. I'm just sending missions to Africa. Here, merchant governor. Where's my card? I have an extra merchant, and that's this one. I wish the color of the country it was from was apparent on it, just for this nations thing, because, you know, this is not entirely available. Merchant says I can ship goods to market for each of my merchant fleets. Well, why did I put this first? What? Because I have crap. Okay, fair enough. Okay, I probably should have had those in a different order. But governor, treasury, to place booming city on a territory where you have something. Yeah, the Dutch can't do anything this turn. Ambassador here, because I cannot do. And again, I probably am using the wrong card for this. I'll just ditch that in there. Okay. On to the third, and we all reveal. I don't think we're allowed conquerors. I need this card. Cannot use explore. Oh, cannot use conqueror before turn 4. Okay. The Portuguese viceroy, which I'm not going to really be able to do. Move treasury to an explored territory, but I can go over into the Med. Except I might be limited by the Treaty of Tordesillas. Portugal cannot explore or place counters in the Americas outside Brazil. Okay, so I'm allowed to go into the Med. I'm not sure Spain is. They have their scientist missionary. This time they can actually play the scientist. They only had 4 cards. More garbage. This is my bonus sovereign, which I could use for diplomacy, but we'll see. I have a bigger navy. But that doesn't give me any dice or anything. The English have their naval advantage, so I don't know if I want to fight. Nobody's got any prestige, so there's no real reason to, except maybe to pick on somebody's merchant fleet. Okay, so our first one up is the sovereign here. I could wage war with a nation with lower or equal diplomacy, and that is it. I'm going to do it because I have the English naval advantage here. Choose to reroll naval force strikes once per year. Who do I want to pick on? Well, I feel like Portugal and Spain have kind of hosed themselves over already. However, the 2 nations that that are left both have a bigger navy, and I'm not sure I want to do it. I am just going to pass. I mean, chances are I'll get hurt. I'm allowed to roll a die for my ships. I don't see much advantage to doing this. I'm going to just ditch the card. Put it up there. Gets us over here. Rebel would have been an interesting choice, but Viceroy. Move treasury, maximum logistics. I am never allowed to have more than 1 logistic into an explored territory. Okay, well, the only explored things here, here, and here. I'm going to move it into the Barbary one, and that gets me a sack of something that I can't read. I don't see sacks of something here. I think it's this orange. So cotton or salt or whatever, I now have a monopoly in products of the Orient, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. It's good enough, That's pretty cool, actually. I did something. That's more than anyone has done so far. The Spaniards, I could throw another missionary down. I would rather buy a scientist. I'm going to take seafaring for 1. And without any prestige, I don't have to live my largesse or whatever the fuck it is. Over here, merchant. I have governor too. Governor's not going to happen. Ship goods to market. Well, there are goods. I can do it. Okay. So if the Portuguese are willing to let me, I can ship that good. That's money Portugal could make. I don't know what their cards are. So let's take a look. Do we want to give him the right? Now we could give him money or something, or he could give me money. For each goods you take from a resource, that player adds a counter from his pool to your treasury, and you add a counter from your pool to the market. Yeah, I think the Portuguese are willing to allow him to ship that. That gets him a buck. And the Dutch get to put something out in the market. Pretty cool, I guess. That puts us here. Now he has a sovereign. He could go to war with a nation with lower or equal diplomacy. Obviously, he does not want to pick on someone terribly weak. But, Portugal is kind of in the lead, so we're going to go to war with Portugal. And we find the sovereign. And we're in a year of war. They have no land conflict possible. However, they each roll a number of special dice equal to the number of squadrons they have. So I'm going to roll, I can't do it simultaneously. I'm going to roll the French die They could get hurt here. Oh, we went to war. That expends this. The French got a hit. The Portuguese did not. So we have sunk a Portuguese ship. The Portuguese are unable to roll now. One side is unable to fight. I believe that happens at this point. They'd have to give a prestige. They don't have one to give. But the war is over. And we lose the card. And we go on to another card. I got a rebel. I can get rid of that missionary. This is going to confuse me. Why that one, I don't know. I got a viceroy. Could be useful if I'm allowed to go somewhere. Trader. I can pull the market out now. And sovereign. Move treasury to an explored territory. I'm not allowed to play viceroy yet, so I've got a rebel. I may get rid of the missionary. Okay. Over here, I've got a conqueror. Found a colony in a territory where you control all the resources. No. Wage war on a nation with lower or equal diplomacy. Oh, wait, you know, I can conquer. Found a colony in which you have at least as many natives as the power. Now, I don't have as many counters as the power, so I can't do that. Which means, what do? Do I want to go to war? Well, I don't have a navy, so I'll just pass on that option. Viceroy, move treasury to an explored territory. Now, I am, I believe, not allowed. I can only found colonies where I have a mission. Tordesillas. I can only explore and place counters on historical goals. So now I have to look to see if Egypt, and this is kind of the most painful, the Barbary or Levant are of importance to me. I don't think they are. Wow, West Africa is? Neat. Okay. Wow, they're not actually that interested in. It's kind of hard to find places like, what's this called? New Spain. Great. That's not what I was expecting it to be called. So the best I can do is rebel. So I will put a rebellion marker there, I believe. Spark a rebellion that has an unrest and no mission. Yeah, so I couldn't trigger the actual rebellion there. He's got a traitor. And yeah, this part feels like, you know, pure Euro right now. However, except I have to page through to find it in the font that I want. And flip through some more. There we go. Okay, I can move as many goods as my economy level plus combined native power. How much was I allowed to do as merchant? I don't know, because I can't fucking find the merchant now. This is really obnoxious. One per page. This was equal to the number of merchant fleets. Okay. So we go back here. Move goods from the market to your treasury, as many as your economy level. The Dutch economy is 4, so I can move 4 goods. When you move goods belonging, you each take them back, otherwise you add them to treasury. So I get $1 too. I did as good a thing for me as I did for Portugal, essentially. So no big deal there. All right, and that's his turn. Well, the Dutch aren't doing too badly. Sovereign and Conquer, I'm going to use the Sovereign card. France has a special rule. If I can find the France card. Sovereign can be used to move 1 up on diplomacy instead of its normal ability. That's just France's power, so they can go to war, you know, a historically proper amount of times, I guess. Here we got a merchant. Out of cards. Okay. So let's take a look here. I got a merchant or a governor. Governor, can't do anything I can do. So I've got the merchant, sell goods to market. Can't do that. I don't think. Maybe I can keep shipping that. Why not? The merchant can ship goods equal to the number for every good shipped. Yeah, I think I can keep doing it. I don't think there's a limit to how many goods there are. I thought that originally. So, yeah. Hey, Portugal, you want another buck? Sure. Okay. And scientist or missionary. I need to play the missionary to keep my problem. Oh, and I do get a missionary as well. It quells the unrest and I get a missionary. It quells one unrest and you get a missionary. There could be multiple unrests there. Spain. Conquer. You have to control all the resources. No. Wage war on a nation with lower or equal diplomacy. I don't really. Oh, I could pick on the Portuguese. Sure, why not? Let's go to war with Portugal. They're doing well, so I miss them. They have to surrender. They have no prestige. Essentially nothing happened except I lost a point of diplomatic power by going to war. Nothing can happen here. Him. Viceroy can't be done, so I can rebel. And rebelling, I can remove a missionary. And that is the end of the first step. And now we flip through the rule book to try to find, yeah, I mean, I like white space. There's a lot of white space in this rule book, more than I need. Pictures taking up a lot of space. Basically, this rule book is a pain in the butt because it doesn't, it's like flipping through some loose leaf notes or something. It doesn't give you a dense enough treatment. I often complain that rule books are too dense in the amount of information they give. This one is too sparse. Fuck me. Okay. Yeah. My table is just a little too thin to deal with this. You know, it's funny. I mean, this is not a complicated big game, but it's got a fairly big map and a big footprint as well. You know, kind of like a, you know, the footprint is about equal to an XX. All right, the next thing is merchant fleets. One treasury into the merchant fleets for each monopoly. Well, only 2 people have monopolies. Why do I need 3 in my merchant fleets? I don't know. But I'm going to move a treasure into there because I've made a couple of bucks. I might as well shift that there. The next person to be able to do this is our Dutch friends. They're going to move one as well. They could move 2. They have 2 monopolies right now, but I've got a lot. I have a limited treasury. Of course, you can always take out loans, which probably you're going to have to do at some point. Just make enough money to do things. Okay, first player moves down. Normally it's going to move to the left, but I always do things counterclockwise, as you may have already noticed in this game if you don't follow me normally. Okay, now it's naval forces. Now, I guess the first player switched to over here. I need navies. I have a navy of 1 for the Portuguese, so I'll move a money over to a navy. The Spaniards, I have tons of money. I too will move 1 over. The Dutch, I could move 2 over. I don't feel like that's necessarily advantageous to me. The French can only move 1. No, they can move 2. What can I do with lots of navy? I don't know. Do I want to go in debt? Because that's where I'm heading, you know. And then over here for the English, I can only move 1, and we'll do that. Our reroll gives us some advantages. And finally, the loan would produce interest. If there were any loans out here, they would start stacking up more cash against them. How much time have I used up on this video? I can't tell. I think it's about 20 minutes. It's a slightly different presentation than I'm used to, I think. So I'm going to keep going, I guess, because this is nowhere near long enough. So programming the cards is turning out to be a little trickier than usual for my hidden information type things. In part because the timing of the merchants and traders is kind of a tricky thing. I'm going to probably resort to throwing a die some of the times. This time I didn't. Let's reveal what we've got though. A lot of the restrictions still apply, but the Brits have an explorer. I'm not worrying about starting with the first player on this. I will another explorer. An explorer, because nothing's been discovered. America's available. Damn, let's go for it, man. Not available for them, though. So a scientist, and a scientist here as well. There are advantages to throwing a scientist. There's some disadvantages, though. For example, there's not enough treasure in either of these to improve their economy, which, if they're going to be doing merchant actions, is actually a pretty good option. And we'll see where we end up with this. Okay, exploration. All the dice, and you know, we're just going to keep hitting Brazil, even though there may be easier areas we can hit. We really want that prestige, the extra prestige. Looks like we did not get it again, which sucks. Likewise, Spain, however, they have a seafaring, which they picked up. Hey, look, Columbus, which drops this down to a 2, and that goes up to a 4. They crap out as well. Science, well, what do I want? I don't have a lot of money. I have $2. I could improve seafaring, which would help exploration. Next turn, I think I'm allowed to start exploring, so maybe. My navy can't go any higher. Logistics, probably not too useful. So we'll spend 1 on the seafaring. Probably didn't need to do this at this point. Likewise, the French. Probably didn't need to do this at this point. I was, thinking otherwise. Let's go to the Brits. They have a seafaring. I can go find myself the West Indies. What the hell? Assuming we ever succeed. There's 2 successes out of here. 10 dice. So, how many are you expected to get? Probably at least 3, but, right? 6 gets you 2, 3 to 4. So I'm actually taking high chances with some of these. A 4 roll. This was 3, 4, 5, 4. We have a success. We have just discovered the West Indies. So we get 2 prestige for that, and now we're in the lead. That moves this over to circumnavigation. And there's more we can do. Because when you successfully explore a space, India and China has a diplomacy bonus. We go to stage 2, which is we can put a merchant fleet into a resource, getting a trader's quote, or we can move a treasury at the cost of an unrest. I am going to move a merchant fleet into here, and now I believe I have a monopoly on tobacco. Does that look more like fur? Wait, what the fuck is this? It's yellow around something. Yeah, I think that's down here, the tobacco, sugar cane, cotton combination. Shit. Okay. Which now allows me to start building merchant fleets as well. So that's kind of cool. We got the prestige. We can't build a colony right away, but if we have a viceroy, we can. But I don't think we can because, yeah, we can. We can't do a colony. We can viceroy it. But now we have matching that, so I think we could actually colonize once we have a card that lets us do it. So that brings us to our second. And I'm going to pause because I need to light my poor addiction. Yeah, I'm actually not sure about how this camera works in terms of telling me how much video I have on here. It is not the same as my last one. Let's make sure we got things right. I could have made some bad choices here. Over here, well, we have a scientist or a missionary. I might be interested in throwing that missionary into play. On the other hand, I want to get my seafaring up. I feel like I'm getting left behind on that. Here, well, Viceroy isn't going to help us, so we have a rebel. We're kind of pissed at the English, so we'll create a rebellion here in the West Indies. Over here, the Dutch. Merchant or governor? Merchant, I can sell goods to market. For each of my merchant fleets, I have enough merchant fleets. I can carry 2. England, Portugal. Do you guys object? Nah, we want money. Each get a money. And the Dutch get 2 more counters in the market. Why is there an English counter in the market? I don't know. They sold something, I guess. Sovereign or conquer? Found a colony in a territory we control. Well, I can't play that. So I have the sovereign. I'm going to wage war. Against who? I feel like England's grabbed the lead. However, they have their reroll advantage and they have a bigger navy. So I'm going to beat up on Portugal. How dicky. Of course, I won't get another chance at England. I get 1 hit. Portuguese do not. So I have taken a Portuguese navy down. And now there's nothing for me to gain from this because they have no prestige. But we beat up on someone, which is, of course, always a good thing. What about the English? Viceroy. I could put treasuries into an established place, or I could rebel. Well, certainly don't. I wish I had a missionary, right? Let me make sure, but I don't think getting an extra token in there really helps me terribly much. I don't know why I Viceroyed. Yeah, because I didn't think I'd be going in there. So yeah, let's create a rebellion here, just to be dicks. Everybody's picking on Portugal. Okay, next set. Trader, more exploration, scientist, merchant. Now, what's weird here, of course, is if Spain and Portugal were not the only powers that had explored, that had each discovered major routes, Treaty of Tordesillas wouldn't exist. And this is a problem I have with all the games that kind of bake it in, that allow you to explore beyond, that start really with the first explorations. Not really the first, because frankly, there were explorations along the African coast that were of key importance. But the Treaty of Tordesillas came about because Spain discovered a route westward. Portugal discovered a route eastward, and they hit Brazil. And, those two things, those combinations of things are what delimited what the nature of the Treaty of Tordesillas would be. It's not that Portugal should try to discover Brazil. They accidentally hit it due to storm, supposedly. And on the other side of things, the the eastern route, well, really only Portugal had a fair chance of making that route at all. That's better handled in EU, where no one else really could do the African Cape in time. But the path through to the Americas, anyone could actually get in Conquistador also. Yet these games have a Treaty of Tordesillas forcing you to go where maybe you didn't want to go. Okay, so I can explore again, or I can ambassadorize. I will explore. What do I want to explore? Well, America's easier. So, and I can't go anywhere else, really. Yeah, there's nowhere else I want to go yet. So I'm going to go with, going for Brazil again. I'm at a 3 now, which I easily make. So I get the prestige for Brazil. Yay. And now, we can't follow this because we have to go over to another page. I don't like the way this is really worked out. When a player uses the Explorer already turn after America has been discovered, he can choose to make an attempt to circumnavigate. This is an extra action which discards a treasure and is taken after the standard exploration attempt. I think I finish stage 2 of my exploration before I have to do this. So let's go find the Explorer again. Page. Okay. Place a merchant fleet on a resource space in the territory, or move a treasury into a resource space and get it unrest. I'm going to place one of my merchant fleets, and I have just gotten little bags of something or another, which are not on here. It is a yellowish thing, so that's going to steal the monopoly from the English. There are rules on that, aren't there? I think I lose a point of... I take the monopoly away. And that is going to lose me a point of diplomacy, making me scarier, and that monopoly is now gone. So the English lose their ability to build more merchant fleets. Tricky. Okay. At this point, I could spend $1 to go for circumnavigation. Do I want to do that? The base is 6. I drop it to 5. You know what? I think I do. I have a fair amount of money available. It's unlikely, but I should roll the dice first, because if I can find this again, seafaring drops it by 1 to a 5, and every continent where I have a counter drops it by 1. So now I'm down to 4, right? Each continent is Africa, Americas, Asia, and Oceania. So I'm down to a 4, which is a reasonable chance. And we get it. So we also get a second marker, which is cool. And now nobody has to worry about that again. Captain Cook be damned. Why do I have 2 here? Because one of them's green. Yeah. Scientist or missionary, I want to increase science. I have tons of money. I haven't found shit. I don't know what I'm doing later in the turn. Let me look. That's not going to help. That's not going to help. I'll do science. I will spend 2 more bucks and become an even better naval. Merchant or governor, I can ship goods to market, 1 for each merchant fleet. I have 3 merchant fleets. People could stop me. England could stop me from getting $1. How do they feel about that? I don't know. But I've got a trader coming up and a merchant. You know what? I don't think I want to give him the buck. I'm doing shipping myself. Oh, I only have one merchant fleet though. Sure, he can do it. So both players get a buck for that. England's able to make some of their wealth. Okay. That was him. We go over here. He's got a merchant. Fuck. Is this a trader? Son of a bitch. I cheated. The English have one of these in here. Okay. So instead, I'm able to ship stuff of other people's. Well, nobody's opposed. Go ahead, put your 2 markers out. We will take our bucks. So England gets a buck and Portugal gets a buck. Neither one sees a reason to try to harsh the Dutch. And this is for each merchant. Yeah. Okay. Trader is by economy. All right. Another merchant. Hey, how about you guys? You wanna do it? Yeah, sure. Again, England and Portugal will each take a buck for their trade. He has 2 merchant fleets, so he can put 2 of his own counters up there. Okay. And that means he has a trader. He can move goods from the market to treasury equal to his economy plus all of his colonies. Well, he doesn't have any colonies. So my economy is only 2. France, Dutch, either one of you willing to sell to me? The Dutch have a trader. Their economy is 4. They would rather not lose theirs at this point. He has a trader, but he only has an economy of 2. He would not like to lose his. So both of them are kind of saying, screw you, man. Okay. So the English can only trade their own good. And they sell their buck. Basically, these other countries, they'd make money off of this just as well, but they're prepared to make money without giving any to the English. So that works fine. Now we're on the 4th of the 5 cards. Still the Dutch not having enough cards that they can play what they want to. That brings us over here. What do we got? A viceroy and a rebel. The viceroy could move treasure to an explored territory. And I can only do this equal to the logistics. I only have a logistics of 1. And I do want to do this because this sets me up for a colony. Okay. Sovereign or conqueror. Conqueror can't really do shit. So a sovereign, you know, my diplomacy is shitty. I could attack the Portuguese. Yeah, I want to. They have no navy. What the hell? Okay. Although we're weakening ourselves, they have prestige. So it's actually of some worth at this point. We miss. We don't do any damage to their merchant fleets, but now they have to surrender to us. Which they do. And that gets rid of our card. Trader. I'm allowed to trade 4 due to my economy. So boom. I am now wealthy. Trader. I'm allowed to trade 2 due to my shitty economy. And I have money. The English should have flipped a card over and they did not. They had a merchant. May ship goods to market. I only have 1 good that I can ship because I only have 1 merchant fleet. And now we flip again. Another set. And again, I have no fucking idea how much time I've used on this. I mean, I know this has run like 14 minutes for this part of the video, but I don't know how long the whole video has been. Sovereign, I could go to war. That doesn't sound good. Conquer, I could found a colony where I control all the resources and have at least as many counters as the naval power. Gain a prestige. We'll do that. We get a colony. We get our second prestige back. Yay! Spaniards, science and missionary. Well, I mean, we could throw a missionary somewhere, but that would only help other people at this point, or put it in there, but we can't go there. So we'll do more science, I guess. I'm going to spend $2 on logistics, because I think that's going to be important. Okay. No action. Sovereign or conquer. Well, we'll spend our sovereign. We use our special ability to get that up. Scientist or missionary. We're going to spend the missionary to do that. That has gotten us through this set. I got to cut the video because I am running short on battery. So now it's time for merchant fleets, but nobody has monopolies except for Portugal and the Dutch, who have 2 free ones. Portugal, yeah, I'll keep pumping my merchant fleets. Seems like a good thing. You want to get monopolies in this game. The Dutch, there really aren't a lot of resources out there. 3 merchant fleets is enough to carry everything that's out there. But let's throw 1 more in. You know, let's throw 2 more in. I expect more stuff is going to be happening. And, of course, we are hitting turn 3. But turn 3 we can't use either. We're also denied from taking things. First player token moves. Naval forces, starting with Spain. Do I want to buy navies? Yeah, I can buy 1. Sounds reasonable. Dutch can buy 2. I don't like the idea of being so low on money, but you know, I want a navy just like everyone else. France, I can't really afford a couple of navies. What is my limitation right now on doing other things? It is turn 3 now. Things are worded a little differently. Like this one says before turn 3, this says on the first 3. It's just the way the sentences are constructed differently, because this is a limitation of what you can use. This is what you can't use, but it does make me a little confused. I don't know how else it could be used. I'll keep building my navy. English, well, you know, if everybody else is building their navy, we better build ours. The Portuguese are kind of like, wow, we feel shit out of luck here, but we have to defend ourselves. Okay. And then loan interest, nobody's taken out a loan yet. Are there people who are short on money? Yeah, you know, there are. There's a couple of people who don't have a lot of cash and probably are going to need it and may just need to take out those loans pretty soon. I'm going to cut this here. I suspect that this is well under an hour, but I have no idea how to read this camera. I've got 2 numbers. One is the amount of time that I've spent on the current video, and the other is something that just says 708, and it has always said that in brackets. It's not giving me the total amount of memory on the chip. I think I may have disturbed the chip in some ways, and I may need to reformat it with the camera to make sure that all the functionality is there, because I think I fucked something up with it. All right, let's send this out.